Welcome, everybody. College Football Week 9 is over. It's time to look forward to College Football Week 10. I'm Joe at the Game House, and today we're going to be going over 5 things to watch in College Football Week 10. Okay, as mentioned, we're going to go over 5 things to watch in College Football Week 10. This is a big week. We just had the College Football Playoff rankings come out. So let's get to it. We'll start off with point number 1. We have LSU at Alabama. So last season, LSU pulled off the upset of Alabama at home. We saw that they went for 2 to kind of win the game at the end there. Very exciting game. This year, LSU travel to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide. LSU has 2 losses on the season, which came to Florida State and Ole Miss. Defense has had some issues, specifically in the secondary, but their offense scores 47.4 points per game, so that's been quite impressive. Look for the impact quarterback Jaden Daniels makes on the game with his arm and his legs. He's been incredible, and they've gotten him to push the ball downfield a little bit more this year, which has really opened up the offense with some talented receivers that he has with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, too. Alabama still only has 1 loss this season, which is to Texas. Defense has played great, but their offense has been inconsistent. Jalen Milroe has taken some steps forward. And like Daniels, he can help the offense with both his arm and his legs, although he's way more, I would say, inconsistent than Daniels is with his arm right now. Dallas Turner's been great defensively on the edge for the Crimson Tide, really helped them get after the quarterback. There's a lot of stake in this game. Both teams are vying to represent the SEC West in the SEC Championship game. You know, Alabama still feels like they have college football playoff hopes alive. LSU, 2 losses, so it'll be tough, but they, if chaos happens, let's remember that they won a championship with 2 losses way back in 2007. When no one else kind of thought 2-loss team could win a BCS championship, they got the job done. So maybe chaos happens and they can get the job done. At the very least, they're looking to at least do what they did last year, which was represent the SEC West in the SEC championship game. I think Alabama maybe wins this one. It's at home. I think that has a big difference here, and the secondary issues for LSU could be exploited. So we'll see what happens there. But should be a really good game at the end. And we know the first weekend of November they've been typically scheduling this game, and it's very well worth watching. Number 2, we have Washington at USC. Now, remember, we usually put in these things 5 things to watch because it's, you can get a little bit creative with it, but there's some good games here, so we're going to keep on going through a list of games for a little bit here. So a game that had a lot of preseason hype was Washington traveling to USC to take on the Trojans. Washington is one of the best offenses in the country, scores over 40 points per game. They've had some hiccups as of late. I mean, they really struggled with Arizona State and Stanford. But Michael Penix has had a fantastic season. Defense allows 20.6 points per game, and with how good their offense is, that is very, very good for this Huskies team. Now, we saw that they're going to be motivated for this week because they were ranked 5th in the college football playoff rankings. So we'll see if they can work their way up into the top 4. USC also has a high-powered offense, 45.7 points per game. The defense has had their struggles all season. That's been well documented. 32.6 points per game allowed. Caleb Williams has not had as good of a season. He's likely not going to repeat as a Heisman winner. USC is out of the college football playoff race for all intents and purposes for right now. USC will be underdogs because their defense, but they still can score. They can score with the best teams in the country. So it might be worth watching this game, see if they can outscore Washington, who has had some hiccups lately. Might be closer than the experts think. But as mentioned, though, Washington ranked number 5. Resume-wise, probably should be ranked around 3 in the college football playoff rankings. So we'll see if they're more motivated to come into this game and get the job done. Number 3, we have Missouri at Georgia. Now, Georgia's won 2 straight national championships and has not had too many struggles along the way. They've been dominating competition. They've recruited well. They've executed well. They're undefeated this season, haven't been seriously tested by a quality team. Now, they did mess around with South Carolina for a half, but they were able to win the game, and I'm really looking forward to see what they can do against a quality team this year, maybe like a top 25-esque team. Even though they did beat Kentucky, Kentucky's now out of the top 25 for the college football playoff rankings. Offense has struggled early, but Carson Beck is settling down, and now they average 41.6 points per game. Defense is stout as usual, giving up 14.6 points per game, so not quite as good as those old Georgia defenses, but they're looking pretty good too. Look well on their way to another SEC championship game and another CFP appearance. But in Week 10, they're going to be playing host to the Missouri Tigers. Last season, Missouri took Georgia down to the wire. Missouri lost 26-22. It was very close to being a loss for Georgia. Missouri actually has a better team this year. They're 7-1. The tough part's going to be winning on the road at Georgia, especially when now Georgia knows what to expect. They are a good team. It's not some team they're just going to gloss over. So the Tigers' offense averages 33.9 points per game, while the defense allows 23.3 points per game. They're going to have to get good performance from the receiver. Luther Burden is one of the best in the country. If he can have a good game and maybe open up the passing attack, which then lets them run the ball a little bit better, that could be huge. And they also need to protect Brady Cook at quarterback. If they do, get all those things. They could pull off an upset and really shake things up at 7-1. Could really make things interesting for the SEC East race and for just the college football playoff race in general. We've seen so many good wins for Georgia over the past couple years. This will be one where we'll get to see them play another good team, and most of the time that means Georgia runs right through them. Number 4, Bedlam. So this is the last scheduled meeting for Bedlam because Oklahoma is going to the SEC. Conference realignment is going to be seeing some of these rivalry games go by the wayside. It's going to be tougher to schedule them. So that's going to be something to watch this time. It's going to be a lot of bad blood in this one. We'll see what happens. Sooners enter this game coming off their first loss, which came to Kansas. Offense is one of the best in the country, averaging 41.9 points per game. Defense is much improved from last season, too, though. They allow 18.2 points per game. Brent Venables is really getting his pulse on that defense. Winning this game will allow Oklahoma to stay in good position to make the Big 12 championship and also potentially the college football playoff. They're probably going to need some things to break their way. They do have the big win over Texas, so hopefully this can help them as well. For Oklahoma State, started off the season pretty shaky. They were 2-2 with a loss to South Alabama. It's a solid program, but a program I think we can all admit that Oklahoma State should be able to handle. Since won 4 straight games, Cowboys score 31.1 points per game, and have found a star at running back Ollie Gordon. Been running all over defenses the last couple weeks. Defense concedes 24.4 points per game, coming off a good performance against Cincinnati. Oklahoma State would love to have the Sooners leave the conference with a loss, as that could really be huge in terms of bragging rights for the future. We don't have another scheduled matchup, and especially for Big 12 versus SEC, I'm thinking bragging rights there as well. So it's going to be a highly motivational game for Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. A lot on the line here with Big 12 championship aspirations for both teams still at play. We'll see what goes on there. I think Oklahoma is able to bounce back this week, but man, I don't want to miss Bedlam this weekend. All right, and 5, we have Michigan's first game since the sign stealing was public knowledge. Yeah, there were some inklings here and there, but now we have a whole thing going on. So Michigan had a bye week, probably needed to make sure everyone can maybe get refocused on this. We have reports are coming out that Connor Stalions was suspended with pay amid an investigation to a sign stealing operation. This includes Michigan buying tickets to future opponents' games, him buying tickets for other people, and recording the sideline. And a lot has to be figured out with that whole situations. But it has been in the headlines a lot. There's more coming out as we speak. Since this article has been put together, we even have pictures of a guy who looks like Connor Stalions on the Central Michigan sideline with kind of ducking his head when the camera goes over there. He's covering up his Nike swooshes on his shoes because Central Michigan is an Adidas school. He's wearing the Central Michigan garb on the sideline, wearing sunglasses at night at a night game that would record the other team's sideline. There's a whole heck of a lot to look into here. It's very, very fascinating. But Michigan needed that bye week. Now they're going into this week. They host Purdue. Now, Purdue's not the greatest team. They only have 2 wins this season. They have a history of playing well against top 5 opponents. We've seen that upset like Ohio State in the past. If Michigan can win the game, it might get things back on track before the schedule gets tougher. I'm looking to see how they handle this, how things have changed with teams knowing that they have their signs. What might go on here is just fascinating in terms of the whole thing. But definitely keeping an eye. Maybe not a game you're going to have on your main screen if you're a multiple screen guy like me, but definitely one I'm keeping the side eye on and making sure that goes well for Michigan because there's a lot of distraction right now with that program. And obviously the operations are going to change with the sign stealing. So let's see what goes on there. Those are the 5 things I'm watching this week in college football. Let me know which 5 things you're watching in the comments below. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.